This is nothing new, but the question is, where do they go from here, Woj?
Well, Jim Dolan has to decide what kind of organization he wants to have here. And he has had the ability in the past to go out and recruit and offer that president GM title to the very best, the elite executives in the league. He has not done that. This job, despite all the controversy that comes with Dolan, besides all the dysfunction, this is a job that still appeals to the elite in the league. And it's going to have to start with Steve Mills moving aside for the Knicks. He has been here in 2 different stints, 13 years. You've seen a historic run of losing, but the Knicks still appeal to, I think, the very, very best in this league. But Dolan has to find a way now to get the messaging out that he is willing to allow the changes that need to take place within that organization to open the door for whether it's a Masai Ujiri, a Bob Myers, those kind of executives who you would like to go pursue in New York.
So what I'm hearing from you is it's not even a coach's problem. I mean, sitting at 4-18 and firing the coach, that's one thing, but you're going even higher than that. I mean, who is even to blame here? And you're laughing right now, Jay Will, so I'll go to you first.
Are they going to appeal to any, elite front office? Yeah, because they have a hell of a checkbook. Like, how is this not laughable? This is laughable. You have the most famous arena on the planet. You have the #1 franchise in NBA. They have unlimited spending power, and they keep messing up. They keep messing up. This is incompetence up top. Like, that's what it comes down to. And, I'll ask you this question, Drake. Who's the best coach in the game right now? Maybe Greg Popovich?
Correct.
They have 4 more wins than the Knicks. So realistically, what better of a job
what did we
could
expect?
Fizdale have
What did
done?
we expect him to do with the roster that was in place?
Based on what Jay just said,
What did we expect?
Come on, man.
the New York Knicks are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. When you look at the Forbes list, they're #1. They're worth $4 billion. They got 4 wins currently.
Yeah.
Just think about that math. They've had the same owner in James Dolan, just like the Cowboys with Jerry Jones, and every time we talk about their squad, we talk about their owner, and that's the thing that Woj is alluding to. If you're going to get somebody elite, you got to give them the autonomy to do their job. And that seems like something they have not done. However, I want to congratulate Fizz. They did him a favor. This is a Christmas gift. They did, because they bought out Larry Brown for almost $30 million. Okay, they brought Phil Jackson out for $20 million, brought Derek Fisher out for $10
I want the job.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
What
Do it to me.
How about that?
Taking a look at the win percentages here, but go ahead, Paul, because you haven't even got to mention the roster he was set with.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do with this roster? I mean, when you haven't had a true superstar in over 20 years, I mean, you've had Carmelo Anthony, who you tried to build around, but they have no transcending players now. It doesn't matter what you do with the GM. It doesn't matter what you do as a coach. You got to get the players at the end of the day, because the players create the culture. They create the environment that sets the tone for winning.
And they need to build an infrastructure. Cap space doesn't matter in New York if you don't run a competent organization. They saw that this summer with Kyrie Irving, with Kevin Durant. They didn't just choose Brooklyn. They decided they didn't want that environment. They didn't believe in the structure that was in place with the Knicks. Listen, agents know, players know, coaches, executives. If you can win in New York, there's no better place to do it. And all the resources are there, but they don't have an infrastructure in place, and they don't.
And the culture is created by the players, regardless. You got to have the players. I mean, you can say, yeah, we're gonna have this coach fire him next year, but if you get Kyrie and Durant, they got a long-term coach there. Period. End of the day, it's about the players who are going to create the culture.
But they didn't get those guys.
Exactly.
And they didn't get it because of the culture that was in place, right?
What do they expect then?
But it's hard to create a culture of players, Paul, when I'm watching Charles Oakley getting thrown physically out of the building.
By the owner. What does that say? If we're going to start at the top, let's go to the very top then.
The last executive that the Knicks hired with any real track record of success was Donnie Walsh. And you saw him clean up. They drafted well. Then the Carmelo Anthony trade happened when Jim Dolan came in, pushed him aside, and that started the spiral. They gave up way more in that deal to who? Masai Ujiri, who was then the president in Denver.
So let me ask you then, what would the blueprint be for the Knicks? How do you move forward? What is the best case scenario for them? Are you going after a Masai Ujiri? Are you going after a Bob Myers? Are you going and you're going to give the autonomy to somebody who you know has some of the answers that they need?
Yeah, I go after the best in the game. If I have an unlimited pocketbook and I'm saying, hey, I'm going after the best in the game, I'm going to keep going and try to get the best in the game to manage. But it also starts with saying, go manage. Go manage. Go ahead. I have to stay out of it.
Money's not going to be enough to get those guys make $8, $9, $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Those executives have turned down jobs for more money. What they need is the ability to come into Madison Square Garden and from top to bottom make decisions about who is there, who is gone. There is
Well, that's never going to happen.
There is
It's never going to happen with James Dolan. Never.
There is such a culture of institutional survival. People who've been in that building for more than a decade, who've been part of all this, that if they're not cleared out of there, you're not getting that caliber. Those guys can make money anywhere. They want to win and have success. They're not just about money. That's why they're at the top of their profession. And listen, there's a number of executives in this league who could come to New York and build something that can get this organization back on track.
Yeah, well, Mike Miller is the interim head coach. And remember, Dolan did give that autonomy to Phil Jackson. It didn't work out, and the right decisions weren't made, obviously.
That's because he still had Steve Mills in place, even though Phil Jackson didn't do it.
Jackson
Phil got his $70 million. No, go ahead, Faye. I'm up next.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports analysis and highlights, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.